Hello, hope you're doing well. So it's been a while since I last posted. I think my last upload was on Valentine's Day, so yeah, it's been a bit of a long time. And the reason for that is because I've been pretty busy lately. Between working on commissions so that I can pay my rent and trying to get the next episode of High Hopes Low Rolls put together with the rest of the Shrieking Wizards team, I haven't had a lot of spare time to work on videos. But you see, the fact that I've been so busy lately is only one factor in why I haven't been able to make a new art video until now. The other thing stopping me was perfectionism, which is kind of a key topic I want to talk about in this video. So if you've seen any of my speed paint videos before, you'll probably be aware that I am pretty extra when it comes to editing. I put in title cards and spend ages finding music that matches what I'm drawing, and I put in visual effects and stuff. And the reason I put all of that effort in is because, besides the fact that I find all of that stuff fun to do anyway, because I enjoy editing videos, I also have a habit of feeling like my speed paint videos wouldn't be complete without all those details, and that's because I'm a perfectionist. I have this tendency to unconsciously overthink and hold all the work I make to a stupidly high standard, and a lot of the time I can't bring myself to put the stuff I make out into the world until it meets those standards. And this extends not just to the videos I make, but into my drawing work as well. I tend to fall into this mindset of, oh, I have to produce a full-on poster-style artwork for the speed paint or it won't be good enough, or, I have to spend ages making sure every bit of line work in this drawing connects smoothly, otherwise it'll be too messy. Which objectively is a stupid limitation to put on myself because I love sketchy art styles, but anyway. Because of the combination of that mindset and the fact that I didn't have as much time as usual to work on videos this month, I ended up spending most of the time I did have trying to figure out what kind of fully fledged artwork I'd have time to draw and record and edit to that usual way too high standard. And because I spent so much time trying to figure that out, I ended up just getting stuck and not making any progress on videos at all around all the other work I had going on. Which, is not the best way of going about it. But then the other day I realized how counterproductive that was, and I thought, hey, maybe I should stop going in circles about how much time I have and just try to make a video where, whether it's perfect or not doesn't really matter. I've seen a lot of sketchbook storytime kind of videos on other art channels, the kind where they talk about a story that most of the time has nothing to do with what they're actually drawing, but it's just a nice relaxing video to have on in the background. I figured something along those lines would be fun to try out because a lot of you guys have been asking for more videos with voiceovers anyway, and since I haven't made that particular kind of video for this channel before, there wouldn't be a pre-existing high standard for me to aim for, so my perfectionism problem could hopefully take a back seat. So I decided to sit down for an hour or two and just do some sketching. Draw whatever. It didn't have to be perfect or polished or factor in composition or any of the stuff that I tend to overthink when I'm doing more complex work. Just switch off for a bit and talk about whatever's on my mind. Because again, don't get me wrong, I do love working on more complex stuff, that's why I do it for a living, but I have been drawing a lot of very complicated pieces lately, especially for commissions. And I think that having to be so conscious of whether what I was producing for my clients was good enough was maybe feeding into my sort of perfectionist tendencies when it came to making videos. And I think that's the kind of roadblock that can affect anyone, no matter what you're working on. I tend to get a lot of people asking me how I get past artblock, and yeah, I'm not sure if this would technically count as a full-on case of artblock, because I was still doing drawing work for clients and projects and stuff and having fun with it, but artblock in any form can be scary. It can make you feel like you're never going to get your groove back and you're never going to draw again, and it's all very dramatic, you know how it is. But if you enjoy whatever you're working on, then it's fine, you can chill, you will work on it again, but spinning your wheels worrying about it will only get you more stuck. 9 times out of 10, you do just need to step away from what you're working on completely so that you can come back to it with a clear head. It's kind of like, if any of you have seen Kiki's Delivery Service, there's a whole plot point in that movie about how if you overthink something that you enjoy doing, it can leave you unable to do it at all until you take a break from it, and either try tackling it from a different angle or just come back to it after getting some rest. So yeah, I think this past month of going in circles in my own head was my overthinking phase, and making a more chilled out video like this was my way of tackling the problem from a different angle. I've actually been wanting to take a more chilled out approach to my art in general lately anyway, so, 2 birds with 1 stone, really. How I mentioned before that I tend to worry too much about whether all of the line work I draw is perfectly clean and whatever? That's a problem I have had for ages, and truth be told, I know it's not an actual problem, it just means I have clean line work, that's by no means a bad thing in and of itself. But it does mean that even in my more dynamic drawings where I want my line work to be looser, I still have a hard time using more expressive lines and stuff when I'm drawing over my sketch, just because I'm so not used to pushing past my perfectionism and cutting loose. I think what I'm trying to get at here is that it's really nice to just do some fully sketchy art for a change, especially since I haven't had the time to get much practice in around my other work lately. I think another thing that maybe slips under certainly my own radar as an artist, but maybe it affects some of you guys as well, but when your schedule as an artist is pretty non-stop, like you're just working on full-on pieces all the time, you can forget how important it is to find the time to just practice. And that's probably going to sound a bit redundant, because, you know, surely if you're working on art all the time, you don't need to practice because you're doing art all the time. But there's a big difference between having to do a polished piece of work and just sitting down to fill a page with studies of hands, or doodle some expressions and gestures and poses and stuff, and just remind yourself of the fundamentals. Because even if you're creating artwork all day every day, you can get rusty if all you're doing is creating one type of thing, like just creating fully rendered compositional pieces, you know? It's important to stay sharp on the small elements that go into these whole artworks. Plus, even if you're like me and you get restless if you're not doing something creative 24/7, if you don't change up what kind of thing you're pouring that creative energy into, and you only put your energy into one big thing after another rather than finding time for some small stuff every now and then, you'll end up having art block. I think that's probably because your brain gets so stuck in big drawing mode, like you're so used to only working on like full-fledged pieces, that the prospect of even doing a small drawing is just like, that'll take as long as a big piece, it'll take as much energy as working on a large piece of work. So you just end up feeling pretty burnt out at the prospect of drawing anything. Doing this sketch page was also really fun, because like I said, I'd been so preoccupied with thinking of all the stuff I wanted to do full paintings of but didn't have the time to, that I didn't realize I could just go ahead and doodle stuff anyway. Kind of a couldn't see the trees for the forest sort of situation. Like, I've been catching up on Critical Role lately, and there were so many scenes I wanted to do big paintings of, but it was so nice to just revisit the characters and draw them again for these kind of anatomy sketches, because it's just been way too long since I've drawn them in any capacity. A few of my mates have a way of drawing characters where, I don't know how to phrase it exactly, but they have like a cool way of using shapes to give their characters form, like their characters look like they're made of shapes. And I've been wanting to try out that kind of thing a little bit in my own work for a while as well, so I gave it a bit of a go here. Using characters that you're already familiar with is super handy for when you want to experiment with styles, both because then you don't need to spend time thinking about a character design on top of whatever thing it is that you're actually practicing, but also because you can really see the difference between this version and some of the older drawings you might have done of the character, which makes it easier to compare and see how the style or whatever it is that you're practicing has paid off. Also, side note, because the whole vibe for this sketchbook video is, you know, cutting loose and not worrying so much about the specifics and the perfectionism, I decided to crop my screen recording to just show the canvas itself. Normally I leave my layers and tool palette in full view so you guys can pause the video and see what brushes and layer styles I'm using, but in this instance, I don't know, if there's anything I want y'all to take away from this video, it's more of the whole message of like, you know, don't sweat the small stuff and focus more on finding a way of working that's best for you personally. I don't tend to use specific brushes anyway, so you're not missing much. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say for today. This was quite a fun little change of pace. Definitely felt good to make something more relaxed like this. I'd quite like to maybe do more of these chilled out sketchbook style videos in the future, so if you guys enjoyed this format then let me know in the comments, it'd be great to hear from you. And if there are any other like talking points you maybe want me to cover, then feel free to let me know, otherwise I'll probably just chat about whatever's on my mind, or any art tips I maybe want to ramble about. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, for now, thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. Take it easy.